All right, gamers, what is good? This is Elektra review numero uno, probably one of one as well, unless we get some really crazy stuff from her at tier 4, which I honestly haven't seen from anybody who has tier 4'd her. Now, some positive things I will say about her is that she plays really smooth. If you want to play her in PvE content, if you want to take control manually, I think she plays really smoothly. She has a really easy rotation where you just delay 3, and then you do 4, 5, and you just clap. And it's pretty damn easy. And that's basically the rotation. You just wait for her to throw it up, and then you pop off, and you get like 70 hits. Now, it's an unfortunate 70 hits because the first 50 happen lickety-split, but it is what it is. The other nice thing is you can delay cancel her tier 3. So after, not initially, see if you cancel it right away, nothing happens. But if you wait just long enough, you will get those hits that come in as well. And that's really important because what you can then do is you can do delay 3, 4, 5, and you can do the what's called the Giga combo. And this is going to give you 140 hits. You're going to double the hit count just like that. Now, it does take some getting used to. It does take some practice. It does take some timing. Absolutely. But it does mean that she is very proc friendly. I would give Elektra like a 9 out of 10 on the sort of proc friendliness scale. And the thing is, her tier 3 gives her accumulation. And then her 5th skill has a damage proc buff. So you stack a ton of buffs on this, meaning that her tier 3 rotation that you can pop off every 3rd rotation, conservatively, is going to do a ton of damage. So that I don't forget, her uniform options are Angela, Heimdall, Captain Britain, Psylocke, Carnage, Fallen Soul, and New Quicksilver. Some of the worst optionals I've ever seen. Unfortunately, Elektra only has one ability tag, which is Weapon Master, so you're really not going to get much out of supports in the form of like White Fox or these other kinds of supports because there's basically nothing. So you just want to run with the standard here. And what I want to show you is that you basically, it's almost impossible. Even if you splash 1 and 2 cancel at the beginning, if you do like 1 cancel, 2 cancel, 3 delay, you really can't introduce the tier 3 skill until the 3rd rotation. And I actually forgot to cancel it. I canceled it a bit too early there, and so we weren't able to get that extra damage. But as you can see, she's able to easily do this with a PvE or PvP build in under 40 seconds. Now 35 of Gene may be too high for Elektra with this build here, not having a proc or like a PvE setup. This is a PvP conquest build, but I still wanted to showcase what she can do and how the damage really bursts out, because you get like a good almost 2 bars from her initial rotation, and then when you can splash in the tier 3, it's really going to ramp significantly. So we're going to let this go here. We're going to start the rotation, and you're going to see that you get quite a bit more damage from that initial rotation, and you still have time to splash in almost another rotation afterwards. Now, we're going to get hit here, unfortunately, but we can start again, and you can see the damage is quite nice. Yeah, you see those extra bars kind of flying there. And it basically, to me, indicates that she would definitely be able to do this stage with a more PvE-focused build. But obviously, with Conquest, it's not really, in the cards for her. But you can see the burst here. That extra damage flowing in, those extra, like, 2-3 bars that happen, are quite nice. That being said, I don't think PvE is really the game mode where Elektra is going to shine. I think you can certainly use her. I think she can be very fun to play, but she isn't going to be pushing the boundaries. She isn't going to be redefining the meta or competing with high-end, speed burst heroes like Miles Morales. She's not going to be going into ABX, ABL and competing with Luna or even Gamora. I think PvP, based on a lot of the other identifiers, is really her game mode. The identifiers like the 2nd skill, iframe ignore counter with the penetration, the 5th skill, iframe ignore, etc. However, because Elektra is missing all of the other defensive layers for PvP, she doesn't have the super dodge like Black Widow and Spider-Man. She doesn't have the basic damage ignore like Black Swan. She doesn't have, you know, very, very high damage reduction. It's only 33%. She has no revive. She has no immortality. It's going to be very difficult. So we already know that PvP has kind of a high bar of entry, much higher than PvE. And I think that's the case for Elektra, where going halfway, as I think my build is not really going to bear fruit. We do have a few Odin's Blessings just to cap out her cooldown. This is what the stats look like. Pretty much everything is capped minus just under 5% on crit damage. We do have the 4-star artifact, but I don't think it's that necessary unless you're struggling to finish off characters and get kills. And then I'm rocking a Mighty Conquest. I think for Elektra, your best bet is to go tanky. I don't think a greed is going to work. I mean, it may work in certain, you know, very niche situations, but that would take a lot of testing, and that would take a lot of, you know, knowledge of who exactly you're fighting. The issue with greed is that it's kind of an all or nothing thing, and it works best with characters that have a safety net, like, you know, immortality. So I would say for Elektra, you're probably better off. You don't have to worry about destruction because she has penetration, so you don't have to worry about that. But you do still want to get access to Super Guard Break immunity so that she can pop off the 2nd and pop off the 5th. That leaves you, if you're ignoring greed, with Conquest, Authority, and Refinement, the egg. So I think those are probably your best bets, those 3 CTPs. And yo, she gets a kill on Spider-Man on auto. That's fantastic. Okay, so yeah, that was really good. I want to showcase what she can do against Sentry because I think she has some tankability, but I think it's also quite important to, again, pair her properly against certain enemies and obviously avoid others like Wolverine, who can really, you know, eat your lunch. So we're going with this team here to ignore Colossus to give Elektra the most amount of damage, and then Molecule Man also stalls long enough so that her 2nd skill is available. So you do want someone in the stall position. Red She-Hulk is here just because we don't have a lot of other options, but it gives us a bit more HP, a bit more tankiness, and this is exactly what we're looking for. Now, you can see her auto rotation is really good. She still takes a ton of damage because she doesn't have a lot of consistent healing, but to survive for that long, despite what she's missing, I think is good. Is it good enough for most players? No. Most players are looking at this performance and they're thinking like, man, this is garbage. But again, for those of you that really want to find that diamond in the rough, or if you just want to try to make Elektra work, I don't think this is necessarily her best team, but I think this is a good team. If you don't think damage is your issue, I would say you can switch to like an Echo lead and then bring in Colossus. But if you are struggling to get kills, then you can consider something like this for what it, you know, what it can provide you in terms of defensive layers, chain hit damage reduction, etc. But yeah, her rotation on auto is really good. She prioritizes 2 and 5, which is nice. It's just that she needs to get 2 off to give her the penetration. Without 2, she doesn't have the penetration, and she ends up not being able to deal damage where enemies can just kind of ignore her, just by being, you know, just by having an immunity or invincibility skill up. But you can see here, like, she's hanging toe-to-toe right now with Sentry. She's not doing enough damage to kill him, which is unfortunate, but she's hanging toe-to-toe with him, and he's tier 4. That definitely counts for something. Now, what it counts for you is obviously different than what it counts for someone else. So, you know, it goes without saying, but your mileage may vary, and you may not think that this is impressive at all, and you may already be, you know, convinced that Elektra is not worth it. But let's try something else here. I was actually curious after mentioning it in the video, so I wanted to queue up a Echo Colossus team just to see how Elektra does with a different setup. This is still a pretty defensive tanky setup. The only difference is she's going to deal less damage because she's not negating Colossus on the other side. But to offset that, she has the ignore dodge from Echo's support, and she has the 60% from Echo's lead, which is not bad. I don't think it's enough to overcome the buffs that Colossus provides, but it should be quite interesting. Now, thankfully, Echo eats the tier 4 buff there. We'll see what happens if she can tank. This is a different team. This isn't the same opponent exactly, so this is not a 1-for-1. My intention is not to like find one team and just try to get a win with Elektra. It's more to showcase her performance overall. If we head on down to Platinum, we can see Null, who's currently banned in Vibranium, but of course, none of this testing yet has included Null, and we know that, you know, if she can beat Sentry, then there's still no necessary, you know, possibility that she can kill a Null with an Agent Venom support, for example. This team doesn't happen to feature that, but we know that there's sort of like layers to this PvP game, and, you know, Sentry is no longer the deepest, darkest layer, because after him, of course, it becomes the big bad, you know, symbiote boss. So we're just trying to beat the mini boss right now. I don't think Elektra's gonna get it done, but I am curious to see how she performs here against I think this is the rank 2 platinum player right now, which should still be pretty good. I just want to see if she can get, she's close. She's eating a tier 3 right now. You can see the tankiness is definitely there. You wish it was more tanky for sure, but she's definitely not as squishy as I would have suspected from these patch notes and from the fact that she's a speed character. I definitely expected her to be a lot squishier than she is, and that, you know, basically is explained by the fact that she has a really good autoplay rotation. Now she's popping off the tier 3. It's not doing any damage, but yeah, and she also got guard broken as well during her second skill, so she wasn't able to really do anything. But like, you know, hanging on here like this is not bad. So you imagine at tier 4 she'd be able to kill him and get to Null. This is a second tier 3. Okay, yeah. So on the basis of this, would I tier 4 Elektra? No. I think if she was consistently, like, in terms of, so you're, you know, just for whatever it's worth, my view of what would make her tier 4able. If with this build, with a Mighty Conquest, if she was consistently killing Sentry twice and getting to the next character, whether it's Adam or Wolverine or Null, then I would be really interested in tier 4ing her, because she's halfway there, basically. But as it currently stands, at 80 with a, you know, like, she's 60% of the way there with the build. She's still not able to kill Sentry once. You know, I would say it's probably not going to be good enough at tier 4. Maybe at tier 4 with an absolute max build, you could compete, but you're still not going to be touching ground against Null, I think. And it's, you know, from there it's just like, why bother, right? He's a little bit too oppressive right now, and there aren't enough counterplay options available to make Elektra really valuable and viable. Also keep in mind that the Otherworld battle buffs are changing very soon. There's 8 days left here. She does have 1.5 advantages right now. She is a human, so she gets a buff, and then combat characters get a nerf right now, so there's not a lot of combats being used. However, Wolverine was cycled out of the debuff list, so everyone is running him now, so he will terrorize your Elektra, also Daredevil and other, you know, speed types, if you use them. So really not a good time. Perhaps in 8 days we will see, but I suspect that in 8 days we will see battlefield effects that align more, you know, more closely with the next update, the next major update, which probably won't match Elektra's speed female hero typing. Anyways, guys, that's the most charitable review I can give to Elektra, but I do not think this uniform is a must-buy. I think this is for fans and collectors only, and the really die-hard enjoyers of this character. I think she's cool. I think she's fun, but I don't think she makes the cut from a value/meta perspective. But that's only one way to play the game. You should definitely play the game the way that you want to. You should enjoy the game, play whoever you want, and hopefully what I've talked about in this video has been helpful. If it has, smash the like button or the thumbs down. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.